I am going to can some pike in this video, and of course the most fun part of this whole process is catching the pike. Most of these pike that we caught were pretty incidental. We were fishing for walleye primarily, and just throwing crankbaits, jigs, literally anything. These pike were crushing it. And I had to save a few because they are super tasty, and canning them has become my favorite method because I don't have to deal with the Y bones. And with canning them, the bones just kind of dissolve and you get this almost like tuna-like texture. Super handy for lunches, for sandwiches, or for mixing into like a pasta. It's kind of become my go-to method for pike. And yeah, we're gonna go through that process now. Anytime you're using a pressure canner, you definitely want to refer to the instructions of the particular canner you have. These things are super dangerous and nobody wants to get botulism either, so you wanna make sure you're doing everything legit. You wanna have your jars super clean, have everything sterilized, and then also make sure you're inspecting everything. You wanna look through your jars, make sure there's no chips or cracks. You wanna look at the seals on the pressure canner, make sure that your rubber gasket is in good shape. You wanna make sure that there's no clogging of the vent hole. You can look through and see if there's anything clogged through on that. And you want to make sure you're using the right amount of water and you have the right amount of jars, so forth. So what we need for this is a 23 quart Presto pressure canner. We're going to put 3 quarts of water in there, hot water that is. So in this manual we have 4 fish for a raw pack, which is what we're doing. The fish is uncooked. Tells you to cut it into lengths that fit inside of the jar. Bones can be left in, which is the whole reason I like to do this. And adding a teaspoon of canning salt to each pint jar. I just kind of sprinkle in some salt. And I'm gonna use quart jars too for this. And to process it at 11 pounds of pressure. But we were at a high elevation of 4,800 feet for pressure canning anyway. And for that, we're gonna process it at 13 pounds of pressure. Pike fillet. Here we go. On this one, it says leave an inch of head space. I'm gonna have to cut a few of these or just rip off some of the fillet. It all kind of turns into mushy stuff anyway, so I'm not really concerned about the fillets being intact. Some salt in each of these. And it really doesn't matter if it's mixed in. It just kind of distributes as it cooks. We only got 2 jars worth for the quart size, but for filling up the rest of the canner, what I like to do is just fill jars with water just to keep stuff from spilling when it's in there. If they tip over, more likely to have something break and go wrong in the whole process. Started heating up. Another mistake I've made is screwing on the lids too tight. You just want them just barely on there, otherwise you can explode a jar. Because you gotta let a little bit of the air come out as it's sealing, I think. Don't screw them on tight because they break. That's the moral of the story. Got a few more jars of water. There's a roll here. Should keep them from tipping over. Yeah, like I said, inspecting seals, making sure everything looks good. Here. Line up our arrows. Typically you want to let that heat up for a little while until you're seeing steam come out of the vent hole, at which point we will then add this whatever pressure regulator. Wait till it reaches pressure, or just under. I'll probably, once it hits around 11 pounds of pressure, I'll start turning down the heat. And then it's just a balancing act, waiting to get it right at 13 pounds of pressure for this intended application. All right, now that we're at pressure, we're going to set our timer for 100 minutes, according to this instruction. So, hour 40 minutes, here we go. So now it's been an hour and 40 minutes, we just have to let this slowly cool down and release pressure naturally. Don't wanna just like pop that off because it's under a lot of pressure still. So wait till we're at 0 PSI and then we can pull those jars out of there and see how they turned out. so that's all there is to it. We got a couple of jars of canned pike. This is gonna be shelf stable. These lids are sealing up as we speak, and yeah, good to go. Can just let those sit for a long time and then just bust them out, have some lunch, make some pasta. A lot of different possibilities. Anything that's good with canned tuna, I feel like it's a similar product to this. I think it tastes even better, and it's cool that we caught it ourselves. So anyway, that's canned pike. Thanks for watching.